Here's the cold, hard truth. When the power goes out, it's not just an inconvenience, it's a countdown. A race against time where every minute matters. Picture this. Your lights flicker off at 5:12 p.m. By 5:30, your fridge is already losing its chill. By 8 solid, your phone is dead because you've been refreshing for updates that aren't coming. By midnight, your house is a cold, dark tomb with spoiled food, scared kids, and no plan. I've seen it happen. My neighbor, good guy, 2 kids, always the I'll figure it out type, was knocking on my door in a t-shirt, shivering, asking if candles expire and how to open his garage door without power. Meanwhile, I was cooking the last of my meat on a camp stove, securing water, and coordinating with neighbors to lock down the block. Same street, same outage. 2 completely different outcomes. The first hour of a blackout isn't a drill. It's a knife's edge. Either you act fast with a plan, or you spiral into chaos, burning through food, patience, and options. This isn't about fear. It's about survival. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 5 critical moves you need to make in the first hour of a blackout to keep your home safe, your family secure, and your sanity intact. 5. Save your food before it becomes a biohazard. When the power goes out, your food doesn't just sit there waiting patiently for the lights to come back on. It's on a timer, a countdown to rot that starts the second the electricity cuts. And here's the kicker, you don't have as much time as you think. According to food safety guidelines, refrigerated items become unsafe in as little as 4 hours once the temperature rises above 40 Fahrenheit. Frozen foods, they might give you 24 to 48 hours, but only if you don't open the freezer. Think about that. 4 hours. That's all it takes for the milk, eggs, raw meat, and leftovers in your fridge to turn into a health hazard. During the 2003 Northeast blackout, millions of dollars in groceries were lost within a single day. Families were left scrambling, unprepared, and hungry. If you don't act fast, you'll be next. The first step is triage. Identify the most perishable items in your fridge: raw meat, seafood, dairy, and soft cheeses. These are your priority. If you have a working stove, cook them immediately. No stove, no problem. A propane camping stove, a grill, or even a makeshift fire pit can save the day. Cooked food lasts significantly longer than raw food, even at room temperature. For example, boiled eggs can last up to a week without refrigeration if stored properly. And cooked chicken can stay safe for up to 48 hours. Next, consolidate your cold items. Don't leave milk in the fridge and steak in the freezer. Move everything you want to save into the freezer compartment and keep that door shut. The less you open it, the longer it stays cold. A full freezer can maintain safe temperatures nearly twice as long as a half-empty one. If you have empty space, fill it with ice packs, frozen water bottles, or even Ziploc bags filled with water. These will not only keep your food cold, but also serve as a backup water source when they thaw. But here's where most people fail. They don't have a plan for when the grid stays down longer than expected. If the power doesn't return within 24 hours, that raw meat in your freezer becomes a ticking time bomb. This is where a small propane camp stove or solar cooker becomes a survival tool, not a luxury. A single 16-ounce propane canister can provide about 2 hours of cooking time. With just a few canisters, you can keep your family fed for days. Finally, remember this: your food isn't just sustenance, it's survival currency. The moment your neighbors see or smell you cooking while their homes are dark and empty, you become a target. Practice light and scent discipline. Use blackout curtains. Cook discreetly, and vent smoke away from populated areas. In a prolonged blackout, food decisions separate the prepared from the desperate. 4. Lock down your water supply before it's too late. If food is your first line of survival, water is your lifeline. The human body can survive weeks on reduced calories, but without water, you're looking at 3 days at best. Add heat, stress, or illness into the mix, and dehydration can kill you in under 36 hours. Here's the terrifying reality. Municipal water systems rely on electricity to power pumps, purification systems, and treatment plants. Within an hour of a total blackout, water pressure begins to drop. Within 24 hours, taps in many cities will run dry, and when they do, your water problems won't just be inconvenient, they'll be catastrophic. The first hour of a blackout is your golden window to secure every drop you can. Start by filling every bathtub, sink, and large container in your home. A standard bathtub holds about 80 gallons of water. That's enough for a family of 4 to drink, cook, and clean minimally for 2 to 3 weeks, if rationed carefully. Think about that. One simple action could give you weeks of breathing room while your neighbors scramble with empty buckets. But here's the catch. Not all water is created equal. Tap water stored in open containers quickly becomes a breeding ground for bacteria and insects. Within 48 hours, you could be dealing with algae, mosquito larvae, and contamination. That's why you need proper water storage solutions. Products like water bobliners, designed to fit in bathtubs and keep water clean, are a game changer. They cost about $35 and can keep water potable for weeks. Don't stop there. Add water treatment drops or unscented household bleach to your stored water. Just 8 drops of bleach per gallon can neutralize microbial threats. And even if your taps are still running in the early hours, don't assume the water is safe. Power outages can cause treatment plants to malfunction, sending contaminated water into your home. Mechanical water filters like LifeStraw or Berkey systems can remove 99.99% of bacteria and viruses, giving you peace of mind. If you live near a pond, river, or even a swimming pool, manual pumps and siphons become essential tools. These allow you to extract and transport water efficiently when hauling buckets becomes exhausting. Finally, let's talk about security. Just like with food, once your neighbors run out of water, they'll look to you. A gallon of water weighs over 8 pounds, and people desperate enough won't hesitate to take risks. Secure your water storage, conceal it when possible, and be prepared to defend it if necessary. Water isn't just hydration, it's cooking fuel, medical sanitation, and survival currency. Without it, society collapses fast. During the Syrian civil war, entire neighborhoods fell apart, not from gunfire, but from lack of clean water. The difference between resilience and ruin often comes down to those first critical hours. Fill every container you own, because once the taps run dry, it's too late. 3. Lock in heat and shelter before the cold claims you. You can survive weeks without food and days without water. But when the temperature inside your home drops below 50 F, the clock on hypothermia starts ticking. And here's the chilling truth. Hypothermia doesn't wait for extreme cold. According to the CDC, it begins when your body temperature falls just 2 FDF below normal. In a blackout, your heating system's electric furnaces, gas heaters, even oil burners become useless. They all rely on electronic ignition or circulation fans, and without power, they're nothing more than dead weight. Within hours, your once cozy home can transform into an icebox, especially in colder regions where winter nights dip below freezing. The first hour of a blackout is your only chance to secure heat and shelter before the temperature plummets and stores are stripped bare by panicked crowds. Start with insulation. Your home is bleeding heat through windows, doors, and thin walls. FEMA estimates that up to 40% of household heat loss happens through windows alone. Before nightfall, you need to act. Seal off unused rooms, hang blankets or tarps over windows, and shrink your living space to 1 or 2 small rooms where body heat can accumulate. Families who survived the 1998 Quebec ice storm, which left millions without power for weeks, relied on this strategy. They turned living rooms into survival bunkers, blocking drafts with furniture and mattresses, and huddling together to conserve warmth. Next, focus on heat sources. Emergency blankets, also known as mylar sheets, are lifesavers. They cost less than $2 each and reflect 90% of body heat. Layering mylar inside tents or makeshift shelters creates a microclimate that can mean the difference between shivering and sleeping. Even candles, though small, can raise the temperature in a sealed room by several degrees. But the real game changer is alternative heating. Kerosene heaters, wood stoves, or propane heaters designed for indoor use with proper ventilation are essential. A single gallon of kerosene produces 135,000 BTUs of heat energy, enough to keep a small room warm for hours. The tragedy is that most people don't own even one backup heat source. They assume the grid will always protect them. Here's a survival trick most overlook: clothing as shelter. Layering wool, fleece, and down traps warm air close to your body. Avoid cotton. It holds moisture and pulls heat away. Wool, on the other hand, retains 80% of its insulating properties even when wet. During the 2021 Texas blackout, hundreds of people were hospitalized for hypothermia, not because they lacked heaters, but because they failed to dress properly. Don't forget ventilation. Sealing a room is critical. but you must maintain oxygen flow. Every year, people die in blackouts, not from the cold, but from carbon monoxide poisoning caused by unventilated stoves or generators. The CDC warns that CO poisoning spikes dramatically during outages. Battery-powered CO detectors or mechanical indicator cards are lifesavers. Finally, think security. A lit lantern or burning fire can draw attention. If your home is the only warm, glowing spot on a freezing street, you've painted a target on yourself. Use blackout curtains, indoor fire pits with chimneys, and concealed heating setups to stay alive without broadcasting your advantage. Heat isn't just comfort, it's survival. If you don't act in the first hour to secure your shelter and heat sources, the cold will move in, steal your energy, cloud your judgment, and take lives faster than hunger ever could. 2. Establish communication before the silence becomes deadly. When the lights go out, most people instinctively reach for their phones. Refreshing, rebooting, praying for a signal. But here's the harsh truth. According to the FCC, most cellular towers only have 8 to 24 hours of backup power. In extended blackouts or EMP scenarios, they go silent fast. Once that happens, you're cut off. No 911, no news updates, no way to contact family across town. You're blind in a world that's already unraveling. The first hour of a blackout is your only chance to establish communication. Miss this window and you may never reconnect. Start with the basics. Emergency radios. A $30 hand crank radio tuned to NOAA or local AM stations can keep you informed. During the 2017 Hurricane Maria crisis in Puerto Rico, radio broadcasts were the only reliable source of updates for weeks. Families with hand crank radios knew where aid was being distributed, which roads were passable, and which areas were unsafe. Everyone else stumbled in the dark, literally and figuratively. But listening isn't enough. You need two-way communication. FRS and GMRS walkie-talkies, which cost $25 to $50 per pair, can bridge distances of 2 to 5 miles depending on terrain. This allows you to coordinate with neighbors, family members, or survival groups even if cell towers are down. Prepping communities often use preset radio channels as rally points during emergencies. If you don't set these up in the first hour, you risk scattering your people permanently. Here's a level of communication most overlook. Security. In desperate times, information is currency. You don't want strangers overhearing your supply runs, defense plans, or the locations of hidden resources. CB radios and shortwave setups, though more complex, offer secure communication. During the 1990s Bosnian War, ham radio operators became the backbone of survival networks, relaying medical requests, trade opportunities, and warnings of hostile groups. Don't underestimate low-tech signaling. Whistles, mirrors, and even colored cloths can send messages over short distances without electronics. A whistle blast carries farther than a human voice and doesn't shred your throat after hours of shouting. These tools may seem primitive, but in chaotic environments, they're lifesavers. Finally, communication isn't just about gadgets, it's about plans. Where will your family meet if separated? What's your fallback location if your home is compromised? Who's responsible for checking on vulnerable neighbors? These plans must be discussed and executed within the first hour, before panic fragments everyone's thinking. The first hour is your last chance to anchor your people to a plan. Without communication, silence isn't peaceful, it's fatal. Fortify your perimeter before desperation finds you. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. When the grid goes dark, the rules of society start to bend. Law enforcement is instantly overwhelmed. During the 1977 New York blackout, looting began within minutes. Over 1,600 stores were ransacked in less than 24 hours. Now imagine a nationwide blackout lasting weeks. If you don't secure your perimeter in the first hour, your stockpiled food, water, and supplies won't matter, because someone else will take them. Defense starts with visibility and access control. Walk your property immediately. Are your doors locked with real deadbolts, not flimsy interior locks? Are windows latched, ground-level entries blocked, and garages secure? A $20 bar lock on a sliding glass door can be the difference between intruders walking in silently and giving you the minutes you need to respond. FEMA recommends layered security, multiple barriers that slow intruders long enough for you to react. Next, set up lighting discipline. Darkness is a double-edged sword. You don't want to advertise your resources, but you also can't afford to stumble blindly. Red filtered flashlights and blackout curtains are essential. Red light preserves night vision, keeping you alert to movement outside without drawing attention. Blackout curtains prevent your lanterns from glowing like beacons to desperate neighbors. But perimeter defense isn't just about locks and curtains, it's about organization. Assign watches if you're with family or neighbors. Rotate shifts. The UN military runs 24/7, watch rotations for a reason. Fatigue and complacency kill. Even in urban neighborhoods, forming ad hoc block patrols can deter opportunistic looters. Then comes the question most avoid: weapons. In desperate times, people become dangerous. After Hurricane Katrina, firearm-related incidents spiked 200. If you legally own firearms, the first hour is the time to stage them safely, but accessibly. If not, even basic defensive tools, pepper spray, bats, wasp spray, or improvised barriers are better than nothing. The goal isn't to pick a fight, but to make your home a harder target. Looters look for the weakest links. Don't be one. Finally, secure your mindset. In a blackout, hesitation equals vulnerability. You need to be mentally ready to enforce boundaries. Say no when others ask for supplies you can't spare, and act decisively if your family's safety is threatened. The first hour is your only chance to fortify your home. If you don't, you won't have anything left to defend later.